It's Thursday, September 3rd. Welcome aboard to this edition of Barnstable Today. I'm Kevin Friel.
And I'm Andrew Gobiel. Thank you very much for joining us.
We'd like to remind you right at the top that the meetings we cover are available on demand at the town's website. You can check them out at www.town.barnstable.ma.us.
September means one thing, of course, it is back to school time. So today, Friday, and again on Monday, we're going to play parts of our interview with School Superintendent Dr. Patty Grenier. She's talking about her school preparation, getting the school ready, of course, in time for the students to arrive on Tuesday. Here is part one of our interview with School Superintendent Dr. Patty Grenier. Joined now, of course, by the Superintendent of Schools, who is taking a nice, long, deep breath as we're about to get the school year underway. First, we all know some of the challenges that you've gone through, and the entire town is going through, obviously. But it must be nice to see that right around the corner, the kids are going to be in the classes, the teachers are going to be there. How is everything going so far?
Everything is really going pretty well and somewhat traditional, which is a good thing because it feels like a typical school year. Yesterday was the day when all staff report and we all come together in the Performing Arts Center at Barnstable High School, which is really an amazing sense of energy when 800 people come together on behalf of students, and an excitement. Education provides people with something that many professions don't, and that's a fresh start every year. So you get to do it again, and you get to do it different, you get to do it better. This year, there's more energy around the differences because people are in different buildings, working with different teams, in different structures. So there's a great deal of anticipation of what will it be like. That being said, I have to comment that yesterday morning we had a student, a special needs student, open the day by singing the national anthem for us. He actually sang at the Red Sox baseball game 2 weeks ago. He's an extraordinary young man. He's 20 years old and in the program at the high school. And every educator in the room was energized by his rendition and his opening the day for us. I've gotten a number of phone calls today about potential buses, and that's always a traditional hotspot at the beginning of the year. And routes are changing this year because of the 8th grade in the high school, because of some of the differences, because 4th graders going to the Horace Mann. So buses are probably our biggest change this year, despite all the other changes that occurred.
Now, before we get into the buses and what's going to be involved in getting the kids to the different schools, and those are the changes, I would imagine that, and I read your note that you sent out to the staff. You had actually put it up on the website, and you had nothing but kudos for the facility staff. I can imagine how challenging that must have been getting these schools ready when you're consolidating schools and moving people over and getting different. Here's your opportunity to thank them once again and talk about the yeoman's work they did.
Thanks. That was perfect. There were over 200 classrooms moved this summer. A feat that is beyond belief in a school district. And Tony Lucina, our director of facilities, took this challenge on. We bid the moving company. We went with a moving company because we felt it would be the most efficient, would let professionals do what professionals do. And the bid process was surprisingly more economical than we expected it to be. And the company came in, and unfortunately we had a bad start with one company, hired a second company, but the bottom line was they moved the staff beautifully. Kudos go to the teachers initially because the 1st of June we started delivering boxes to schools. And so teachers throughout the district after school and the week after school ended packed their classrooms. Some teachers as many as 100 boxes when you get down to the lower elementary classes with all of the things that make up an elementary classroom. So teachers on their own time packed the boxes. The moving company came in and part of the maintenance staff and summer seasonal help, and part of a federal grant for youth, a JTech team came in and helped move. So we had, but Tony orchestrated this like a fine musical rendition, and the classrooms are moved. Teachers to a person are saying it's been an amazing move. Kudos go to the technology department because there is extensive changes in technology. Computers moved, smart boards moved, new computer labs because we've taken away a computer lab, made it a classroom. All of those behind the scenes kind of things that happen all summer are done. And we're
You sound almost surprised.
Well, it's huge. It is huge. I'm not sure anyone understands the complete magnitude of the details, and I don't have to do the details. Other people are doing the details, and so the credit goes completely to them.
Now let's talk a little bit more about the buses and the challenges you're facing there. I would imagine that the most important thing right now is communication with the parents. And you've got different resources, either the staff here, transportation staff. I would imagine you're using the internet and the websites as well to get that information out there. Is that correct?
We do. We post the transportation routes on the web. We put them in the newspapers, all the local newspapers, Cape Cod Times, Barnstable Patriot, the Enterprise, they're all in there. And this is the week where people pick up bus passes, so Sandy Gifford and the transportation staff are busy. And it's also the time where some parents remember that they had to have gotten their bus pass. So there's a lot of late minute kind of frenzy requests for buses and bus passes. And traditionally, one thing, if I could do this, share this information, and some parents are used to it, some parents new may not be, the bus routes always get better than the first day. The first day is always the worst day. And if it's a beautiful day, it's even worse than usual because parents take pictures, they kiss their little ones, some parents try and walk on the bus and make sure they're seated. So the routes are always the worst the first day of school. Each day of next week, the routes will get progressively better. And each day we will see who's actually riding that said they would be. So it's an evolution for about a week. And we actually say to parents, try to be as flexible as possible in that week. But I've returned 4 or 5 phone calls today. Sandy Gifford, Director of Transportation, and I have made some subtle changes, some small changes if we can. And the other piece of request that we've put out there is, could you please give us a week? We'll call you back, we have your request, and we'll see what we can do.
Very good. How are we doing as far as staffing is concerned? I know that substitute teachers, the numbers of substitute teachers, that's an issue from time to time. Do you have enough in the stable this year so far?
We probably never have enough substitute teachers, but we're starting with or without with the list. One of the exciting things is all our staff have been hired. Some school years you'll be trying to find a chemistry or a physics teacher or a French teacher because those two areas, or a mathematics teacher, science, math, foreign language can be very difficult. But we're fully staffed, and all our staff are in the schools today working.
Good.
So we are ready, and our substitute, we use an online substitute call list, and it's all been upgraded up and ready to go.
Good.
So,
as a history major, I noticed that you didn't say you're lacking in history teachers. I
we
mean,
usually don't lack in history teachers, English teachers, elementary teachers. We usually still, thank heavens, get a fair number of applicants.
Very good. So this concludes part 1 of our conversation right now because, of course, school is so important and we have such a dynamic superintendent. We're going to go to part 2. So we will bring you part 2 of our conversation with the school superintendent coming up on Friday.
Again, School Superintendent Dr. Patty Grenier speaking with Andy Gobil about the opening of the 2009-2010 school year. Now let's take a look at the meeting schedule this week. We only have one meeting left. Tonight's Town Council meeting gets underway at 7 o'clock here in the Town Hall hearing room.
For Kevin Friel, I'm Andrew Gobil. Thank you very much for joining us.